Hey everyone, today I'm going to be going slightly over a game I played and then using my poor mistakes to view how professionals played in the same instance. So it's like half Joseki video, half review video, using professionals' games to compare it to my own. So in this game, I played really bad against another 3Q. He ended up defeating me with like 35 points, somewhere around there, and I just felt really terrible because it's been a long time since I've been beaten by that many points, right? So we're gonna go all the way back to the beginning, using my favorite opening. The just very generic or classic or orthodox way of playing the 2, 3, 4 points. So, 3, 4, 3, 4. Now I'm used to white playing here, and then I will just play my game. Like I know my game pretty well. But when he played here, it kind of made me feel like this side of the board was humongous. Like it was just really big, and so it kind of made me enticed to like play in here instead of my normal game. Now I played this approach, and in Wall Theory's Go, when we play out these moves, if you guys don't know, Wall Theory's Go pattern search takes pro games, and it literally just takes pro games. So I don't know what more to say, but the number 1 here, and the 3, and the 4, and the 5, and the 2, these are where pros played the most. So like, if we go back, professionals usually play this star point more than any other move. But number 2, like the second most played move, is this one. White's number 1 is over here, and number 2 here. So this is the correct way to approach black when he plays this. This would be the number 1 move after doing something like this. And then white's normal move, like I said, I'm very used to this one, but he ended up playing here, which is apparently number 3 out of the most pro players play move, right? If that makes sense. So already I was trying to decide in my own game which one to approach, right? And I didn't really have a good reason on why I picked this one. Probably I think it's because I'm not good at the game. No, I don't know why I picked this one in particular. But now that I've looked at Wall Theory's Go, it's actually much more appropriate here. This is like the number 2 and 3 spot. If you want to approach white, for some reason this one up top is better. Probably because this Shamari is facing down, whereas this Shamari is facing over here. And if you don't know what the Shamari is, it's like the Knight's Move enclosure. I actually just been using it as the enclosure name, but anyway, so this one, when white builds this way, it affects this enclosure here. Whereas this one, where if white builds over here, it doesn't affect this enclosure as much because this enclosure wants to build over here. That's like that, high level opening theory. So I won't go crazy into detail, but that's why it's better to approach on this side than this side. As you can see, this is like the 5th move that pros played the most, whereas this would be number 1, 2, and 3. So the enclosure first, or these. Anyway, we'll go back to the game, hopefully. Alright. He played this, which I also am not very used to. So already, I'm really like out of my element here. I'm not used to any of these moves that much. Of course, I slightly recognize them from like the Chinese, of course, but this would be up 1 higher. So I poorly chose this move. This move is very incorrect. And I think already by doing this move, it led to me losing the game, if you can believe that or not. Because I just felt like wicked behind for the rest of the game for some reason. So we'll quickly go over the moves. This isn't what I want to teach you because this is not the way to play. White does a very basic Joseki that allows him to save himself this, and like he can work on this. Black still feels cramped. I probably should have just played here. I don't think I did though. I ended up playing this way. And this was probably another poor move. I definitely probably should have played here. The reason this is a poor move, or the reason I played it, is because these two stones here, they feel like they're building a wall. And this is where I wanted to enclose, right? So this is the direction I wanted to make my points after enclosing. So I was like, oh, he's building a wall and I don't want him to approach me. So I'll just take away his approach move. So that's why I played it, but it was probably not the right time. I felt that if I played here, this would be a very good approach, something like this. Maybe that's poor thinking it probably is, but it was a bad move, so he ended up enclosing me. So now I'm in a bad situation. Now I'm like really hurting. I just wanted to make some eye shape so that I wouldn't have to worry about it. But the problem was white is like kind of thick here and safe, and white is pretty thick here facing his stone. So now I'm like, oh man, now he's like making a lot of points and I made like this, like, right? Not that great. So this was, I think, my third bad move coming up. This was really good. I like this a lot for white. I think it was spectacular because it worked well with his thickness and his stone. So this was my another terrible move. And like after this sequences, like I already feel like I lost. I just played this one out of jealousy of his Moyo. It's probably not good. I would need a stronger player to tell me more about it. We played out some Joseki. I was cramped, but I thought I could take advantage of this by playing something like this. But I didn't do that for some reason. Oh, I didn't do that because I felt like white could now play here. Maybe something like this, right? So I'm forced to like live in Gote, or even he can still come out with this move. This still has possibilities, and then he plays something like this. So this is really, really bad for black in my opinion. So once he played this, I did not want the white to play here, so I ended up solidifying. But because of that, now he got to Hane on my head, and I just have this very small living group, and he has like almost guaranteed points up here. He's still this thickness, with possibly even this becoming very thick, right? This is very thick. Black can still run out, but white can profit while black runs out. So I got a small group, and he got a lot of thickness with guaranteed points. So I already felt behind. The rest of the game was very terrible. I'm not going to go over it too much. I'll like quickly skim through it, but it was pretty bad. I did like this as like the Tetsuji though, because I had to do a lot of reading here to see that this worked. So it looks bad for black, but because of this weakness here, when black cuts here, white has to come back, and now black plays here, and so white only has 2 liberties where black has 3. 1, 2, 3. So yeah, if you don't understand that, white has to come back here, right? Because if he plays this, he's dead. So white has to come back here, black plays this. White can threaten to Atari, but then black gets the kill. And white can take this if he wants, but it's like whatever. So I had to read this out, and I felt like proud about it, because that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 move read. So I'm like, yeah, you know. But I did not, when I read the sequence, I didn't realize how good this move was. It just kind of obliterates this corner, and that might not have been worth it. Let's see. So yeah, he just takes over the corner. I have a somewhat weak group, and now he can profit by like bullying this, in which he does later on. I do feel though that like I have this really nice big 1/4 of a corner, just almost. I wouldn't say it's almost 1/4, but it's a lot of points here. But the problem is that white has more potential than I do because of his thickness, and so he used it properly and was able to beat me pretty easily, I think. He pushed through, but this gave him a wall. I did this great reduction, I thought was really cool, but it wasn't enough. This move was probably a mistake because it just gave him like strength that I had to answer, so that was really bad. And I tried some shenanigans here, but it didn't work. I did see this snapback, but these stones weren't cutting anything, so I figured just throw them away because they're not cutting anything important. I did think this was Sente though, but he disagreed, and I didn't realize this double Atari, so that was a misread on my part. Other than that, we can like keep going, but he already won at this point by at least like 25 points. I had to like play a lot of crappy moves to make this live. I think he even could have attempted to kill me. This would have been very hard for me to live, right? I don't even see like a living pattern. So I don't know why he didn't just kill me, because I would have resigned at that point. But he didn't, so we played to the end and blah 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 blah. But we'll go back. So this is what I want to teach. First of all, this is the wrong direction, so you don't want to play this way, you want to play up here. Second, when white plays here and does this pincer, this is, you should erase this from your vocabulary. I'm going to erase it from mine. It actually leads to a whole bunch of different joseki that we can go over. So I'm going to switch over. This was my game. I'm going to switch over to the SGF that I made with a whole bunch of new joseki to play. So using, once again, Wall Theory's Go pattern search, this is where I learned all these patterns if you want to learn for yourself how to do these joseki. And in fact, I don't even know if they're proper joseki, since I'm not like getting them from a joseki book, but this is how pros play, so I mean, you can't really argue these moves. So let's continue. So like I said, I played this in the game. If I played this, it's the same exact situation though if white pincers. So these same variations could be down here if white pincered the same exact way. Which why wouldn't he? Because this stone and this stone is symmetrical. So we shall begin. And remember, this is the move I played in the game. Not good. Not good at all. So don't do it. So we can start with this attachment, which is pretty cool. White does a very natural move of Hane. Black comes back. White undercuts him. Black clamps. And then white has two options. Most professionals on Wall Theory Go play this way. Only one professional in the database played this way. But if I was playing an amateur, or if I was white myself, I think this would feel very natural, right? Like, why not? So we'll go over, I guess we'll go over the natural way first, which is not as, pros don't play this move as much. Pros usually play this one. But let's do this. Black Ataris, it's very natural. Black now attacks. So he has made thickness, so he attacks this stone. White chooses to diagonal here to separate these two, and then black uses his wall to jump out. Hey Beam, what Beamo? I'm doing stuff. Okay, so white in his game played this, and I see why, because let's say if black doesn't respond, right? This is a pretty decent corner now, but it also feels slow. But you know, I'm not a professional, so I can't say if it's slow or not. I think it's good, but black gets this really good approach now. White in his game played overhead to cap. Now black did this sequence, and because white didn't answer with the Hane or anything, white answered here to try and cut this stone. Now black can pound on top of this one's head. Very natural move. Natural. White Hanes. Black cuts. And white actually cut this way. White strengthens. Black wants to take the stone. White uses the Atari to get outside influence. And what else do we have here? So white cramps up black. Black jumps. White for some reason now feels this is important, and then black plays this. I could go further, but this is like, once black has this move, it kind of feels like this group came out safe. So white's like pressed down, which is pretty good for black. But white also has a chance to get a nice hefty corner, so it's good for white. So it feels even. This feels Joseki-ish. It feels even. So I'll end this one here. And that all started with this move. So like I said, most professionals play this way. We just went over, oops, we just went over this one. So let's play this one. Black plays here. White plays out here. And this is like pretty good. Like, I don't think it can die. White has potential of like approaching this way, which would be really good. And black slides. At this point in the game, of the professionals game, white Tanuki's here. I feel like I'd like this more, but it leads to, I guess, like cuts and fights, so I don't know. But at this point it felt like the Joseki was over because black responded, and they didn't care about this side anymore. You can see though that after black plays any of these moves, right? Like black has a corner and he's safe. So, and white got flattened down, but he's still out. So this is like a Joseki, an even Joseki, I think. Once again, that all stems from this move. So that would be covering A. I'll cover B now. Black jumps, white follows, black jumps, white follows. Black has made a wall now, so he ends up trying to harass this stone. White does his enclosure, which also attacks this. Black came back here, and then he came on top. So now this stone looks like it's hurting. Black has a wall, white has some solid territory, and then white has like a really good enclosure over here, I think. But this was the Joseki, and white pushed, and it became like this big fight. I'm not going to go over it completely. Feel free to use wall theory. Just follow these exact moves I'm doing, and you'll see like the whole pro game that comes out. So, you know, that's what I'd use to study. But this is like the Joseki that I thought was interesting. I personally like the A one more, but B looks like a very simple and like safe way to play. C is the most complicated one. In fact, my teacher Will has gone over it with me twice in the past, but it's very hard to memorize Joseki just from like him showing you the moves, you know, once, right? So now I've actually studied it a lot because of this game, and learning the pro way of using it. I remember Will telling me specifically, it's good if you have the ladder to do this Joseki. If you don't have the ladder, then there's some other ways to go about it. I'll ask Will on Thursday and make a video about it. But for now, I'll just go over it. You can see that these two stones are trying to flatten white, right? Like if white just submits, black will come back, and white is kind of like flattened out, right? And he's building strength over here. So white plays this move. Black hanes, very natural. White extends. Black hits the head of this stone, and the reason I think is because if white like doesn't respond or something, black can like cut the stones apart, right, and really hurt this one. So white actually comes back and makes this table shape. This is the table, called the table shape. It's very similar to the bamboo joint, but obviously this one move is extended over here. And you can see why it would be useful, because black cannot cut white. Technically he can, doing something like this, but white's still his main group is still here, right? So black plays this move to try and take the corner. White connects, making the bamboo joint. Black will play up. White stomps on this one's head, trying to make points this way now, from what I can tell. Black now finishes taking the corner, and white cuts to create problems. This diagonal is cool. If I was playing a real game, I feel like white would be kind of screwed here. And essentially he is, even in the Joseki. But it's so hard for black to kill him that like it leads to a whole bunch of like moves that can be used for ko or ladder. So anyway, we'll finish this up. White does this cool diagonal. Black actually makes the empty triangle to Atari. Black finishes separating this stone from this stone. White pokes, because if black plays anywhere else, white kills these, right? So white now cuts this, hurting these stones a lot, which creates the ladder, and hurts these stones. a lot, like 1, 2, 3, compared to white's 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So black wants to make more liberties this way. White stomps on his head. If black responds in a different way, I'm not sure why he wouldn't. Maybe that I should look at these variations, but it looks good for black in my opinion. So I'm not sure why. I guess it's not that great. Yeah, okay. Alright, so I see now why. So black doesn't plays this to solidify. And now he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and white only has 4. So by making this shape, it is an empty triangle, but he's still making enough shape to kill these. White's next move now, I believe varies. I've looked at 2 programs. Oh no, wait. So the Joseki actually continues where white threatens to kill these. This only has 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, white has 5 now. So black has to respond. He's trying to kill these again. Black has to respond. White does this, the throw-in, to short black's liberties here. Black had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now black has 1, 2, 3, 4 because of that throw-in. And now, out of the pro games I looked at, white either played here or white played a ladder breaker for this ladder. And if you don't see the ladder, the idea is that if white just extends here, if the ladder is no good for black, white can escape. So this would be really good for white. But because the ladder works, it's very good for black because he ends up getting this whole corner. The shape is kind of hurting right now, and he might be able to take out some of these stones, which would give him influence in the center. So yeah, white in the 2 pro games I watched, he either played the ladder breaker or this one. So we'll go all the way back. I know this has been a long review, but this is how I've been studying all day today because of how poorly I played. I think this gave me a new tool to use when somebody pincers me this way. So I find this very valuable. These are the moves I went over. There's this move as well, but I don't want to go any more because the video is long and I don't really like how this formation ends up anyway. So feel free to use Wall Theory's Go pattern to study what I've studied and study how I study, because I find that using pro games have really showed me lots of new ways for Joseki and how the full game looks. Like when you're looking at a Joseki book, it only shows you the corner, right? It only shows you the one pattern. Whereas if you study pro games using Wall Theory's Go, you see the whole global thinking of the board. And that is much more valuable than just like a Joseki dictionary book. Anyway, that was me doing poorly, but using it to teach. Take it easy, everyone.